Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome students. Today we will be continuing our discussion with cleaner production approaches. In the cleaner productions we said that say it is also a cleaner productions talks about the circular economy, and it talks about that reusing the waste. So this today's lecture will be talking about how reusable resource can be identified in the mining site, and also how it can be repurposed for the effective post closure purposes. So for these purposes it is very essential that you need to get the material characterizations done. So you will have to get the chemistry, that you will have to know about the different testing facilities for the characterizations, geochemical characterizations, and then how you can add values to the waste material, that you will have to get it done. But thing is that you will be here learning about the approaches only. The detailed work of the characterizations or the value additions will be coming when you want to get it done, and that will be done not by your own expertise. You will have to hire expertise for that purposes. But for this, the repurposing as well, your first thing is, as a mining engineer or as a environmental engineer, how exactly you conceptualize the repurposing will be discussed over here. And then after going through this lecture, you should be able to explain the potential uses of mining waste through proper investigations and planning, because this investigation how you will carry out, you should have a clear idea about that. And then you can take up certain studies for the mine site investigation and repurposing, and for that you should be able to identify what are the different expertise will be required, with whom you will be building up your team for doing this work. So that is the purpose of today's lecture. But you know that the resource is what exactly we have said, that the post mining resources. So that resources which are lying in that the post mining site, as we must know, the definition of the resource is a stock or supply. That is, it could be money, it could be material, it could be stuff, different stuffs, and then the assets. And exactly this is the physical material constituting the parts of the earth, whichever is there at the time of the closure, that will be considering as resources. But the resources can be owned by individual or by organization. Now that it will depend whether it is an individual resource or the organizational resource is basically, it will be depending on the functions that this particular commodity or stock or money which can do for you or your in organization. So that is why that resources must be technically accessible and economically viable and culturally appropriate. So that is why your resource, maybe your rice is a resource, but you can use it for making liquor, and then you can create nuisance in the society by getting drunk. So that is exactly not culturally appropriate, though that same rice, it is accessible to all community, it can be sold, and from there you can do not only your surviving, but you can bring business to your village. So that is why the resources is basically this basic concept of resource should be there with you. And the natural materials that become resource when humans value them, you must, that is anything whichever is lying, it may not be a resource for you. But that is why in an abandoned mine site if you go, or after the closure if you go, you find out there are a lot of materials are lying here and there, land is lying over there, but thing is that you are not exactly valuing out of it, you are not making use of it, then it does not become a resource. So the uses and values of resources change from culture to culture and from time to time. That is why the way in the past, that is your timbers and all were just logs were cut down and burned for this driving away the animals, wild animals. But in a culture, when they develop, they build beautiful houses with fencings and all with that same logs, and then they live more happily. So that is why the culture makes the use of resources differently. So resources can be an available means, a natural resource or wealth or revenue, a natural feature or phenomena, or any computable wealth. And that's why the type of resources could be a renewable resource and non-renewable resource, and then another type that is called flow resources. Now that is exactly, there are many resources which are natural resource, that is it does not depend on the influence of the man, but it is neither renewable nor non-renewable. And that could be, say for example, when you take the solar radiation, running water, tides, geothermal, landfill gas, biomass, winds, these are exactly flowing, which time it is varying and all that thing, but it is exactly, they do not have a regenerative capacity, but they are not getting exhausted also. We are getting air, that is exactly still in our air we are getting at least that 20% of the oxygens we are getting in the air, but that is it is having a different way it is getting in the circulate in the flow. So those are also resources. Now resources reuse, which we are talking today, that is whatever is there left in the mine site, how for the same purpose we can use. That means there may be a building, there may be some pump, there may be water distribution system, as it is there you can use it for the same purpose for water distribution and all, or you can take out that pump and you can use it for other purposes. Maybe now that because there is no longer a mining office is there, so take out the water supply pump from there and then put it in the nearby, that is your overburden dump, on which you might have done the vegetations there to supply water or irrigation purposes, you can use it there. So that means you have value added to that pump, or you can make, that is exactly for transporting some of the that is your, if you can convert it, provided the technically supportive to transport some of the your maybe a Pansagavya that mix, it can be spread over as a sprinkler by using that same pump. So you are having a value additions to it, that may be there in some house, maybe the canteen were lying over there, but now there is no people, canteen cannot be required for there, but you can use it for just storing that biomass for your biomass gas productions or some other purposes. So that's why you can do value addition to the purpose, or you can repurpose it, you can start using for a altogether different purpose. The land can be used for different purpose, we will be talking about it. But for that you will have to identify that what are left in the site as a resource, and that can be done by proper site survey, or we talk it as about site investigation. Now that investigation may be geophysical investigations, maybe your biodiversity survey, they may be your only maybe safety survey, or different type of investigations by different experts need to be carried out. Then the material characterization, taking out the material, whatever the samples are there, whether if there is any toxicity is there around, or there is any harmful materials are going into the food chain. So for that you will have to do the material characterizations, and of course you will have to have an idea about the market around, that from there what can be produced and what can be exactly put into the market. So the market survey and the processing for value additions, if some material is there, whether there can be some value additions can be done. Maybe there are yellow ochres are there in a lime iron ore mine, or some of these stones by which grinding there could be main colors may come out. And if you see the pipes art, that means with the in our tribal people, they take that they grind those stones, and then from there they take out the color for their house coloration, that is a natural color maybe, and with that they wear certain art. So we can find out if such type of materials are lying over there, you can take it, collect it, and then you can take up the local community to revive some of their ancient mode of art and painting, and which can be exactly having an international market. So we can do this type of processing and value additions of some of the materials which are lying over there. So the reusing of the mining waste, that for that you will have to do the characterization of the mining waste, and that will be revealing that what are the potential uses which could be as a source of minerals, re-extract minerals, maybe that is in some of the gold mine over or proliferary minerals, if there are when you have extracted only one valuable, the other may be in a low quantity lying in their tailing dams or in the overburden dump. Maybe that is your in a gold mining or copper mining overburden dump, there may be stibnite, there may be antimony, there may be other materials, so which can be taken out from there. Then coal mining waste may have some residual coal and carbonaceous shale may be lying over there, from where some of the fuel, fossil fuel, can be taken out from there. If it can be, you can process it for sending it to power plant, and it could be a different type of use. Then source of construction materials, this is an area where a lot of work has been done, that is in your the manufactured sand being prepared inside western coal field, that is also a that you repurposed the or reused those material which are lying in the waste dump. Similarly, some of this material can be crushed and then they can be mixed with things, and then it can be used as a substitute of the natural aggregate which you will be doing otherwise mining from some places. So materials for repairing surface and surface, so that means you can use that thing for your underground backfilling. For the backfilling purposes, you will be just grinding, crushing, and then putting it over there. And similarly, that you might have seen the waste from the thermal power stations as a fly ash is going to the underground mine for backfilling purposes. So different activities can be done for this. So but there is a big problem in the national worldwide, because as it said that in South Africa there will be about more than 10 to 30% increase up to by it was as estimated in 2017, it was about 87 million tons which will be coming in the your 68 million ton in 2017 was expected. This year it will be 87 million ton. It's a huge quantity in that country. Similarly, in US they are telling that it is about mineral ore, that waste will be generated about 1.6 billion tons. So that means it's a huge quantity. And India, in our scenario, is we are having 1531 operating mines, because we are mining 95 minerals, which includes 4 fuels, 10 metallics and 23 non-metallic, and 3 atomic and 55 minor minerals. Huge quantity of minerals are being mined. Now here, everywhere the mineral concentration is not uniform. In different places and different degree of waste will be generated. So if we see the Indian mining waste generations, one study is very urgently required there to find out and having a proper data or informations about these wastes which are lying over there, because if they are not reused and properly managed, then it may create environmental hazards. So at present we are having only 0.6 to 0.8 ton of solid waste produced per ton of steel produced. In the steel industry also, that which is associated with the mining, the slag and sludge are produced, depending on whether you are doing it in a blast furnace, or you are doing as a basic oxygen furnace, or you are using ladle furnace. In different furnaces, the sludge and slag will be coming differently. Now from there, how it can be reused, lot of things are there in the cement plant, and because in iron ore making, in slag you add limestone, you keep a lot of calcium oxides, and that's why this can be used in the cement industry. So that way we are having a lot of possibilities of using those material in that. So that conducting the site investigation is very, very important. That site investigations, you can have a flowchart which was done exactly in 1984 itself. The people in mining engineers were studying about how that we can use the post mining site or any mine site investigations. You can develop a flowcharts like, are minerals deposit present after that, or it is all, everything is exhausted. If yes, then your mining assessment will have to be done. If there are some remaining mining or mineral valuables are there, they will have to have a different study. If we find that yes, then has the mining taken place, so in that one it may not take place or it may take place. If it is not there, then it will go to the other part. If there is a mining there is a possibly, or there could be a archival search, you can find out that result, and there has mining taken place. If there is not, then if yes, their whole thing is resites that your structures and unmined ground, how it is done. Then mining ground investigations you will be doing, what are the type of instrumentation, and then also if there is nothing is there, then standard ground investigation will be done as in any barren land, and then you will be reporting the recommendations. Here you consider that what is the remedial treatment, if there are waste material there, how the treatment will be there, or there could be some other what repurposing. This is way. This is in 1984. On the basis of that knowledge, now similar type of things you need to now make out. Your first thing is you will have to do a lot of study, that is you will have to do a study, topographic maps you will have to study, you will have to old mining maps, mining records and local historical records will have to be seen, aerial photographs and different dates will have to be taken, and see nowadays you will be using the remote sensing, and all the things will be bringing into a geographic information system. When you do that with a remote sensing based, nowadays you will be applying drone to get the total topography, you will be making a digital terrain model of the area, and then you will be identifying what are the damages has been done, and also you will be looking into the geological maps, you will be looking into the that is your soil survey maps, those maps as well as the topographic map from this. These all maps will be bringing, and you will be creating a geographic information system, and also you will find out there if any detailed geophysical study is required. You can do the current path electromagnetic prospecting to detect if there is any void, that is if there were some underground mines. Say if you go to Jharia coalfield, you go to that CCL or WCL or ECL, any mining area, you will be finding out some of the abandoned mines which were having that underground working in between 50 to 60, 70 meter depth. So those things need to be studied by some of the things you can do by the ground penetrating radar to find out if there is a void because of some of the subsidence, how that exactly that your overburden has got desiccated, how exactly the air has gone into the coal seams. Those type of study can be done by this, and then you can do some shallow seismic refraction studies, and by that you can depth of detection up to 100 meter you can do, and if sometimes below you can do it by magnetometric methods. There are many methods. You will have to find out that you need to do a geophysical investigation to get a three-dimensional mapping of the total subsurface, and even that some of the depth if you cannot go, sometimes you will have to do a borehole, you will have to drill, and then you exactly prove it. So from there you will be finding out in that whole site what are the different type of mining waste can be there, because there you are having a pit, that pit will be remaining with some of the water and all, there will be some waste dump of that is there, lean ore may be there, then overburden dump may be there, and then there will be a processing plant, that the processing plant may be having some tailing dams, then there could be exactly, if depending on the mine, if you are having a port or there, or you have got a railway stations, or you are having a transportation site, because of this transportations there could be a different type of infrastructures. Now all these things will be lying over there, so you will have to see the characteristics of this, what are type of material over there, whether after rain this overburden dump and all, they will be giving a leachate. These leachates, can they contaminate the whole soil, whether it can be migrating some of the pollutant level into other area, or it will be just intervening into the normal water courses and all. The detail need to be studied, then you will be knowing that exactly the site characterization is done. Then you can think of that mine site, how it can be repurposed. The repurposing is exactly getting the beneficial use of the closed mining or other industrial operation. That is, repurposing can be through value added reuse of the land. how you can say it is, as you have seen that you might be having this peat, as we have said, this peat is there may be overburden dumps and all that thing. This is a different type of topography. Now this one, how can you make it as a different type of land use? So whether you can use it for energy generation, that means for the solar panel and wind panel may come over there, or you can use a residential township can be developed over there, or a reuse of infrastructure of another site, or whether developing a derivative business opportunities that create positive economic activity, you can think of it, or use of remaining waste to wealth, what can be done. So this transition can take place exactly whether your rehabilitation or remediations, that is you can a non-polluting environment you can create in a where there is a pollutions. Now they can regenerate and reclamation, you can restoring degraded ecosystem, that some whatever has gone wrong you reclaim it, and then you can repurpose it using mining infrastructure and landscape for other activities. That repurposing is other than mining, something as a sustainable business can we develop, and sometimes it can be a co-purposing, that means developing a beneficial activities on site during mining. Where mining is going on, at the same time you are developing certain things, that is around the mining you can have your fisheries, you can have your agricultural land, horticultural land, and all that things simultaneously you can do it. Or if you are having a huge good sandstones and all that thing, you can bring artists and then sculptor to make a lot of different type of sculptures and can be sold out from there, and engraving from those sandstones which are there. Many of our mining sites are exactly had lot of such a beautiful sandstone which could have been created, lot of monuments for different hotels, different buildings, different places. We do not have many rock gardens. Even the places where we teach mining engineering or geology, in those institutions don't have a rock garden. Then that rock garden could have been bringing lot of overburden materials, could have been converted to lot of provided we have done that co-purposing. We are developing a different type of CSR, bringing the artist, we are making artifact and putting it over there. So this as a post closure or during operations, there could be many repurposing in the mines, but repurposing land uses could bring a community and culture and conservation and ecosystem services. Non-intensive recreations can be made. A lot of recreational needs will be coming in future, because when people will be getting that with the technological advancement, people will be having higher earning capability, but there will be intensive farming and all that thing with a less effort, with the data science and with the mechanizations, with fertilizations and all that thing, food will be there. Then when everything will be there, then people will be looking for recreation. We will have to have an intensive recreation in future, and whether the mining land can provide those area, and for that you will have to construct different type of commercials. Now if you see some of the examples, what exactly the people have done at different places in Indonesia. In Indonesia there is a Kebun Raya Megawati, that is your Soekarno Putri. Soekarno Putri, this Megawati Soekarno Putri, they have got this Kebun. This was an Indian, earlier there was a Newmont company, they ran a mine, and that mining area has now a very good eco park, and then a botanical garden has come up with a lot of conservations, and this is used for the educational and other purposes. So that how you can use a mine site to a botanical garden, it is an example Indonesia has shown. We have got some of the plantations everywhere in our mines. People do the plantations, but without having a proper repurposed plan, because our mine closure plans which have never looked into other things. As I told you earlier also, in our country the revisiting of the mine closure plan is an urgent need, but I don't know, maybe sometimes when you will be started examining and studying, you will be coming forward with, and the government may sometimes take this step that we need to, all our mine closure plans require a revisiting, because they have not been planned properly for repurposing. For example, you can see this at the Kentucky, this was a cavern mine. Inside the mine below, they have created this a place where the bikers and all that thing go for a different type of sports. So this is an underground bike park. Can an underground in a cavern, because it is stable, safe, and in that where their cavern mining, they were doing the salt mining and all that thing, those caverns, now they can be used for this type of purposes, which is exactly a repurposing. This was an old mine which stopped at 1970, that abandoned mines, they have now repurposed it and then got a high security commercial utilization has come over here. So similarly, you can think of what the China does. This is a Chinese mine. You can see that it was an abandoned mine quarry. In the abandoned mine quarry, what they have done, they have created a Shimao Wonderland Intercontinental Hotel. This 16-floor hotel which has come up, which has started from this, it is a pit, mine pit, where the pit water, it is a, I think it was limestone mine. So this one exactly, they have taken it over there and created a mega structures like this. So that is where exactly we have got also many stone quarries. Nothing there, in many of the manganese mines of Tata's manganese mine, old quarry is lying over there in near Borbil area, can be there. But thing is that similarly when Mosabani copper mines were closed, they had a good hospital. There were some of people like us, many people were telling that that hospital can be taken over and can be made a medical college with a hospital. Now if that type of townships could have been developed, Mosabani would have been a vibrant town now, which is now as a ghostly town, and then people are not having any means of better livelihood. But nearby that, in some other places, some quarries like this are also possible potential places are lying over there. So we need to do that repurposing. So this, when we do this, you can see of the other area. This is how in Norway people have done in an underground mine. This mine, that is your Lefdal mine, has been converted to a data center. A data center which is requiring that amount of power, and they require a huge things to service. That a huge data centers have come up in a old mine. Similar type of things, why cannot we do it? We can also do our, but we have not done, even now also we have not studied that how we should repurpose our Kolar gold field, which has got closed, which our Kudremukh iron ore mines which has got closed, and there are many closed coal mines around, and even very recently even 21 mines of WCL were closed, but we do not have any repurpose plan. But other thing is there, which is to some extent in our country we have done, that is we do find that how much exactly the slag get generated. That is in the steel plant waste that has been characterized well, and then our different steel plant, they produce different type of slags, and these slags are characterized and then they can be used in the cement plant and other plants, which is also to certain extent being used. But there are other material, that is your, which can be also made aggregate for your road making and all, that is your granulated blast furnace slag, which can be used in cement productions. Then some of that they have got the characterizations tell them whether it is like your pozzolanitic natures for that, which type of cement it can be made, or in some of the granulated blast furnace slag, which is your pozzolanic in nature, it is naturally fit for clinker in the cement mix. So in the cement plant they are taking out lot of the slags, but still some slags are lying, and then when they are lying over there, because they are alkaline in nature, they increase the alkalinity of the soil. So how to handle that, there is a need of some of the studies which we need to do. So the waste rock, which are other rocks which are available in the mine site, they can also be used, because there are maybe quartz, feldspar, mica, quartzite, felsite, site chlorides and silica. All these things are there in as a stone and clay sand and other material in the overburden site. So some of them can be made for your other construction purposes, road making and all that thing. So the remains which is after the mine closure, that means it includes, there are many buildings, machinery, your workshop, your mill factories, your mine and places and processes, your warehouses, so many things are there. So you need to find out how they can be used. So that is the reuse of the remains and the waste to wealth conversion. This will have to make how you can recover the value. Sometimes you will have to, we discussed in our previous class that how we do the demolishing, and before relinquishment we demolish the things, and when we demolish we recover some of this material, and then we use the site for repurposing, and that repurposing could be development of ecotourism, edutourism, edutainment, that are the things, and also that entertainment or other commercial use. Or sometimes I tell that in our cities like Lucknow or Calcutta, that in most of the cities there are a lot of jails are also there. The jail where the criminals and qaidis are kept, and then lot of space in the main cities are blocked for that. Those jails can be constructed over there, they can be shifted, and that your criminals which are there in the jail can be given their this labor can be used for reconstructing those sites, and then a lot of commercially valuable space in the main cities will be getting released off. So identifying the revitalization scopes and revitalizing the site after mine closure is a complex process of overcoming the crisis conditions of degraded areas. So now you understand, that is, there is a revitalizing is possible, only you will have to investigate, and then you can find out that what type of post mining use you will be making, whether agriculture, forest, aquatic, natural, economic, cultural, different aspects. So when you want to do a post closure or then abandoned mine management and things like that, when you think of reusing, you will have to do a little bit detailed investigation over there. There is the revitalizing procedures in Poland they follow. So you can go through the net, and some of the this type of flow charts you will have to prepare. So just try to study. This is just only to get an idea that whenever you want to do any work, you will have to systematically develop a flow charts, and by that you can exactly think of reuse of the mine site, and the waste materials require proper investigation and waste and your resource data segregation, that which can be converted to resources need to be found, and those waste will have to be retained in the site in such a way that it does not release any contaminant, and for that certain constructions can be carried out, and it can make a value addition to the site, and it could be commercially viable, and for that a careful planning is necessary. So it is just to give you an idea. You can have a lot of literatures are available. There are plenty of literature, but don't get yourself lost into the literature. What you need to do is think of a potential use, and now start thinking how a business can be developed in the abandoned and the post mining area. So this is a just to give you a bird's eye view of the subject. Whole thing we are doing over here just to make you aware of, so that you can now take up some activities, learning activities on this line. Thank you.